Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Unseen Utterance. As the year draws to a close and the nights grow longer, we thank you for listening to the whispers that linger in the dark. May this holiday season bring you warmth, curiosity, and just enough mystery to keep the shadows alive. In the coming year, may you continue to walk with us beyond the veil where silence speaks and unseen voices tell their stories. Stay curious. Stay in the dark. See you in the next whisper.
The laughter from the whispering waves. I never believed in ghosts or any of that superstitious nonsense. To me, everything had a logical explanation. Hallucinations from stress, audio glitches in equipment, or just an overactive imagination. But after what happened at that old boarding house by the Java Sea, I'm not so sure anymore. It all started so ordinarily, like any other day in my freelance life. My name is Arman Prasetyo, and back then, in late 2019, I was 26 years old, working as a freelance audio technician and video editor. My gigs mostly involved editing podcasts and videos for foreign clients, stuff like horror stories or psychological interviews. They paid well, but the deadlines meant working late into the night to match their time zones. I needed a cheap, quiet place to hole up and focus, away from the chaos of the city. That's how I ended up at Red Kuntilanak, an old boarding house I found through a Facebook ad. It was perched on the edge of a small village along the Java coast, about an hour's motorcycle ride from the city center. The building dated back to the Dutch colonial era, with thick concrete walls cracked from years of salt air, wooden shutters that creaked in the wind, and a red-tiled roof faded by the relentless sun. In front was a vast beach, where waves crashed endlessly. Behind it stretched a dense coconut grove, hiding an abandoned cemetery that locals rarely mentioned. During the day, the place had a certain charm: golden sunlight on white sand, the cries of seagulls, and the salty breeze carrying hints of the ocean. I figured it was perfect for concentration. The rent was half what I'd pay in the city, and there were no noisy neighbors to distract me. I remember arriving on a drizzly afternoon. My motorcycle bumped along the red dirt road, flanked by towering coconut palms. Ibu Ratna, the landlady, was waiting on the porch, dressed in a faded grey sarong, her hair tied in a tight bun. She was in her mid-50s, skinny and weathered from the sea air. "Room 08, you're Arman, right? Don't open the windows at night. The salty fog is bad for your health," she said curtly, handing me the key without a smile. I nodded, assuming she was just being motherly. The room was cramped, just enough space for a single bed with a sagging mattress, a rickety wooden desk, and a wardrobe that groaned when opened. The walls were damp and moldy, with a musty smell mixed with the brine of the sea. Power outages were common after 10 p.m., so I brought backup batteries for my laptop. Cell signal was terrible. I'd have to walk to the beach's edge to get even a bar or two. I unpacked quickly: my laptop, noise-cancelling headphones, professional microphone for recording, and a tangle of cables. The project at hand was editing a podcast series on Indonesian folklore, ghosts, for a US YouTube channel. They sent raw audio files via email, rough recordings about Kuntilanak Pokong and Sundel Bolonjan. I had to polish them, adding sound effects to amp up the creep factor. I enjoyed the precision of it, splicing tracks, balancing volumes, layering in eerie winds or distant footsteps. I'd work from afternoon till the wee hours, headphones on to block out the world. At night, the silence here was profound, only the wind whistling through the long corridors, the rustle of coconut leaves like whispers, and the constant roar of the waves. Sometimes, the quiet was so intense I could hear my own heartbeat. I had a mild history of depression from my university days after a bad breakup. The doctor said it was from overwork and lack of sleep, so I took light sedatives to help me rest. But here, I thought the sea air would be therapeutic. The first day went smoothly. I finished one episode, adding a warped laughing sound effect to the background, and uploaded it to the shared drive. The client loved it. "Great job, Arman. That laughter really gives me chills." I smirked, knowing it was just software manipulation distorting a voice sample. My neighbor in room 09 was sorry. A young woman, about 24, 7 months pregnant. She was friendly, greeting me each morning as she hung laundry on the porch. Sorry had fair skin, long black hair, and a warm smile. "New here. Bang Arman. I'm sorry. My husband's working away, so I'm staying alone. It's cheap but chilly at night. Take care." We'd chat over the low wooden fence, her about her office job on maternity leave, me about my editing work. "The baby kicks a lot at night," she'd say. I sing lullabies to calm him. The waves sound like a natural cradle song. Through the thin walls, I'd sometimes hear her soft singing old Javanese folk tunes. her voice gentle as a breeze. It reminded me of my mother and helped me focus. The first week was uneventful. I edited 2 more episodes, fine-tuning the videos. At night, a faint floral scent would drift in, maybe jasmine from the backyard, but it faded quickly. Ibu Ratna kept to herself, sweeping the halls occasionally and locking the main door after 10 p.m. The sea wind is cold. Stay inside, she'd remind me. I chalked it up to local superstition. Coastal folks were full of that. But on the 5th night, things started getting weird. It was during a local power outage. The room lights flickered and died, leaving only the laptop's glow. I was tweaking an audio file, headphones on, listening to the wave sound effect I'd layered in for drama. Suddenly, buried in the waves, I heard a soft chuckle. Not a clear laugh, but muffled, like someone stifling it from afar. Reminiscent of children playing, but distorted. I paused, removed the headphones, convinced it was fatigue. The room was pitch black, wind rattling the shutters. I checked the original file in Audacity. Nothing unusual, just clean ocean waves. Must be mic interference, I muttered, resuming work. But slipping the headphones back on, the chuckle persisted, faint but insistent. The next morning, I ran into Sori on the porch. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hand on her belly. Bang, Arman, did you hear laughter last night? I thought someone was giggling outside my window, but it was just thick fog. The baby was kicking hard, like something startled him. I shook my head, suggesting it was the wind or echoing waves. But unease gnawed at me. Sori smiled weakly. Maybe I'm imagining things. Pregnancy does that. You work late, watch your health. We talked more about my podcasts. She was curious about the horror stories. Tell me one to prepare myself, she said. I recounted a bit about Kuntilanak, the white-dressed female ghost with long hair. Laughing in the dark hand, she shivered. Around here, they talk about the but I don't believe it. Red Kuntilanak. I'd never heard of it, but didn't press. That evening, I decided to record the room's ambient sounds overnight to investigate. I set the mic in the corner by the window and let it run while I slept. In the morning, I played it back. Wind, leaves, distant waves. Then, around 2 a.m., a whisper barely audible. Sorry, ... sorry, ... A woman's voice, soft and drawn out, blending with the gusts. I dismissed it as interference from my phone or something. But then the smell started. Between 2 and 3 a.m., a jasmine fragrance, but not fresh-rotting, like wilted flowers left in a closed room. No flowers in my room, windows shut against the fog. I stepped into the hall. The scent intensified. Probably from the cemetery, I thought, recalling the abandoned graveyard behind the coconuts. The nights blurred into escalation. In my podcast files, extra audio tracks appeared unbidden. At first, white noise, but after rendering to MP3, laughter seeped in identical to what I'd heard. I'd delete it, save, but reopening brought it back. One night, around 1 a.m., headphones on. The laughter started distant, growing clearer, as if approaching the mic. I yanked them off, heart pounding, sweat beading. The room was silent, just wind. Donning them again, it resumed, now whispering, sorry, ... laugh, ... Sleep evaded me. My depression seemed to resurface. I'd lie awake, waves sounding like endless murmurs. Dreams turned nightmarish. A woman in a deep red dress, hair veiling her face, standing outside the window. Pale grey skin, a metallic blood scent mixed with rotting jasmine. She didn't move, but laughter echoed from her. I'd wake midnight, check the window, nothing but fog. Morning after, I'd meet Ibu Ratna sweeping. Ibu, hear any laughter, or that flower smell? She'd pause, staring. Don't listen at night. Sounds attract them. Room 07 is locked. Don't ask. Room 07, opposite mine, always bolted, curtains drawn. I probed, but she walked away, muttering about the past. Sorry seemed fine, but complained of insomnia. Bang, Arman, I keep hearing children's laughter, but I haven't given birth yet. Must be tiredness. Our conversations lengthened. She about her husband, village life, me about work. Editing ghost stories. You're not scared? She'd laugh. I am, but it's just a job. Deep down, doubt crept in. I searched online, weak signal, but I found scraps. The boarding house was once a detention camp for unwed pregnant women during wartime. Many died in childbirth or were executed. No graves, just dumped in the sea or buried in the forest. The Red Kuntilanak variant tied to blood and birth, drawn to sounds and lone men near pregnant women. I scoffed. Folklore. Then sorry vanished. On the 10th night, the evening prior, through the wall, Her giggles uncharacteristically merry. Laugh, laugh, double quotes. Morning, room 09, empty. Belongings intact, clothes, bag, half-drunk water. I knocked, called no answer. Ibu Ratna appeared, impassive. Sorry, went home suddenly. Husband called. No worry. Her eyes darted. Left everything. She returned, I doubted, but no proof. That night, rotting jasmine overwhelmed, and in the overnight recording, light footsteps in the hall, whispers take the child, From then, obsession gripped, laughter in headphones, unprompted, distant at first, then intimate, like breath on my ear. Equipment checks, fine, dreams recurring, red-dressed figure, shadowless in window glass. She'd reach, blood jasmine reek. I'd wake, check mirror my haggard face, work lagged, client complained, Arman, weird noise in files. That background laugh sounds too real, playback confirmed, calling Arman, Arman, I confronted Ibu Ratna about history. On the porch, smoking a hand-rolled cigarette, she relented, long ago, camped for women, pregnant out of wedlock, imprisoned. Many died birthing, or killed. No tombs, sea or forest. They linger, pulled by sounds, by men like you, near pregnant ones. Danger, don't record nights. I shuddered, but rationalized. Old tales. She shook her head. Sorry, wasn't first. Climax hit the final night. Editing last file, deadline looming. Background, clear laughter, my name repeated. Playback, identical to Sari's giggles pre-disappearance. File mutated. New track, infant cries amid waves. Delete, attempt laptop froze. Screen glitching, a hair-veiled face grinning. Restart, file rendered. Headphones blaring laughter like ear whispers. I uploaded anyway. Morning client feedback, cool, but what's that end track? Laughter calling my name. Creepy reel, chills. Room reeked of rot jasmine. Through fogged window, red silhouette flickered. I packed, fled, but returning for forgotten headphones. Room bare, headphones on desk, emitting soft chuckles, unplugged. Now, 2023, city-bound, old files still whisper laughter. Where's Sari? Real Red Kuntilanak? Or depression's delusion? I don't know. But if you listen to my podcasts, beware the background track. It might call you.